Large language models that are making a lot of noise. DeepSeek and ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Coke versus Pepsi of the AI world, right?
Exactly. We've got a ton of sources to sift through. User reviews, technical analyses, pricing comparisons, even a heated Reddit thread where people are going back and
Oh,
forth.
those Reddit threads can be wild.
Right. But hey, that's what makes this so interesting. So what's our mission for today's deep dive?
I'd say it's to cut through all the hype and give our listeners a clear understanding of the key differences between DeepSeek and ChatGPT.
Yeah. Strengths, weaknesses, and why it matters to you, the listener. Whether you're a developer, a business owner, or just an AI enthusiast, we're here to help you decide which of these tools might be the best fit for you.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's jump right in. First up, let's talk about cost and accessibility, because this is where DeepSeek really throws down the gauntlet. It's significantly cheaper to use than ChatGPT, like way cheaper.
We're talking up to 27 times cheaper. If you're looking at API pricing, it's 0.001 VAN per 1,000 tokens for DeepSeek versus a whopping 0.03 cents for ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And it's not just about appealing to the budget conscious, it's about democratizing access to powerful AI tools.
Exactly. Suddenly, independent developers, startups, researchers who might not have had the resources to experiment with these kinds of models can jump right in.
And DeepSeek sweetens the deal even further with 50 free messages every day, plus a free tier for regular users. One user even bragged about using it all morning and only spending 10 cents.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it. Just a few years ago, this kind of AI power was completely out of reach for most people.
And get this, even DeepSeek's advanced model, DeepSeek V3, was developed for a fraction of the cost of ChatGPT, around $5.5 million versus over $100 million. It's even cheaper than Sonnet, up to 200 times cheaper.
They're proving that you don't need a billion-dollar budget to create a powerful AI.
All right, let's move on to what really sets DeepSeek apart. It's open source. Unlike ChatGPT, which keeps its code under wraps, DeepSeek lets developers see everything, tinker with everything, even build upon it.
It's like the difference between buying a pre-built computer and having a kit where you can assemble it yourself
Yeah,
and even swap out parts to customize it.
exactly. This is huge for developers because it means they can tailor DeepSeek to their specific needs, run it on their own hardware, and really push the boundaries of what's possible.
And with DeepSeek R1 being MIT licensed, users have so much freedom to leverage the models, download the weights, even use the API output for fine-tuning.
Yeah, it's a real playground for AI enthusiasts. Although, to be fair, running the full 600B parameter model on your own hardware might require a supercomputer.
Right, you might need a bit more than your average laptop for that. But that's where those smaller distilled models come in handy. They range from 1.5B to 70B parameters, so there's an option for everyone.
Now, let's talk about how DeepSeek actually thinks, because this is where things get really interesting. Unlike ChatGPT, which keeps its reasoning process hidden like a magician's secrets, DeepSeek shows its work every step of the way.
It's like having a window into its brain, which is both fascinating and reassuring, especially when you're working with something as powerful as AI.
Right. You're not just trusting a black box. You can actually see how it's arriving at its answers. And sometimes that process can be pretty hilarious.
Remember that example where someone asked DeepSeek, how many R's are in the word strawberry? It's amazing. DeepSeek actually breaks down its thinking process, complete with little comments like, okay, and even, let me think about it.
It's like watching a person try to solve a riddle, and you can't help but chuckle along with it.
It's endearing, and it really highlights DeepSeek's commitment to transparency. The R1 models use think and answer tags to outline their reasoning in a very human-like way.
And speaking of output, let's talk about DeepSeek's coding prowess. A lot of developers are saying it blows ChatGPT out of the water when it comes to generating clean, efficient Python code.
I've seen some impressive examples where DeepSeek creates these elegant algorithms, optimizes existing code, even debugs on the fly. It's like having a super-powered coding buddy sitting next to you.
And we're not just talking about anecdotal evidence here. DeepSeek V3 scored a solid 65.2% on the human evil benchmark, a standardized test for code generation accuracy. So there's real substance behind its coding skills.
Absolutely. And that translates into real-world benefits. There's a case study where a fintech company used DeepSeek Coder to develop fraud detection APIs and saved a whopping $14,000 in development costs.
Okay, now, before we declare DeepSeek the ultimate AI champion, we have to acknowledge ChatGPT's strength, particularly when it comes to language fluency. ChatGPT is generally better at writing in English, especially when it comes to those subtle nuances of grammar and style.
All right, this probably comes down to a few factors. DeepSeek's developers are primarily Mandarin speakers, while OpenAI the company behind ChatGPT, would have had greater access to English language data.
Remember that example where DeepSeek struggled to create a grammatically correct 9-word sentence with increasing word lengths? ChatGPT nailed it without breaking a sweat.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all solution in AI. The best tool for the job really depends on the specific task and the language requirements.
Now let's talk about memory, because this is a crucial feature for making AI feel truly conversational. ChatGPT can remember information from previous conversations, which is super handy for tasks that require context.
It's like having a personal assistant who actually remembers your preferences and can build upon past interactions. You could ask it to create a schedule based on things you've discussed earlier, and it would actually make sense of it.
DeepSeek unfortunately lacks this memory function. Every interaction starts fresh, so it can't build upon past conversations in the same way.
It's a bit like talking to someone with amnesia.
Yeah, every conversation starts from scratch.
But hey, even with that limitation, DeepSeek still brings a lot to the table.
For sure. It's an exciting time to be following the development of AI, and both DeepSeek and ChatGPT are pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I can't wait to see what they come up with next.
Me too. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a closer look at another key difference: multimodal capabilities. ChatGPT, especially with its GPT-4 update, can process both text and images. It's like having a superpowered assistant who understands visual cues as well as your words.
DeepSeek, for now, is purely text-based. It's a bit like comparing a silent film to a modern blockbuster.
I like that analogy. So if you need an AI that can analyze images, generate captions, or even create art, ChatGPT definitely has an edge in that department.
Absolutely. But remember, DeepSeek is still a relatively young company. It wouldn't surprise me if they added multimodal capabilities in the future. The pace of innovation in this field is incredible.
Agreed. Okay, let's get a little bit technical for a moment and take a peek under the hood at their architecture and training methods.
Sure, let's geek out a bit.
DeepSeek v3 uses something called a mixture of experts, MoE architecture, which sounds super complicated but is actually pretty ingenious.
Think of it like a brain where different regions specialize in specific tasks. DeepSeek v3 has a massive 671 billion parameters, but it only activates 37 billion per token.
Okay, so it's like having a team of specialists, but you only call in the ones you need for a particular job.
Exactly. It's incredibly efficient and helps explain why DeepSeek is so cost-effective. They've also implemented FP8 mixed precision training.
Whoa, hold on, you lost me there. What's FP8 mixed precision training?
It's a fancy way of saying they're training the model with lower numerical precision, which might sound counterintuitive, but it actually reduces memory usage by 30% and allows for faster training on more data. It's like finding a shortcut that gets you to the same destination but uses less fuel.
Ah, I see. So they're not only cost-effective to use, they're also cheaper to develop and train. That's a winning combination.
For sure, and it speaks to their focus on efficiency and accessibility.
Mm.
They really try and make AI available to everyone.
Now, let's zoom out and consider the broader implications of DeepSeek's success, because this isn't just about a cool new AI tool. It's about a shift in the global AI landscape.
You're right. DeepSeek is a Chinese startup, and its emergence as a major player in the AI world signals that innovation is no longer dominated by the West.
It's like a wake-up call to the world that China is a force to be reckoned with in the tech industry, not just as a consumer, but as a leader.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out in the coming years.
Absolutely. Competition can be a powerful driver of innovation, and a more diverse AI landscape benefits everyone.
I completely agree. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, we need to address a concerning trend that's emerged in the AI world: AI data pollution.
Oh yeah, this is a big one. We found that DeepSeek v3, when asked, "Who are you?" sometimes identifies as ChatGPT. It's like it's mimicking its rival, which is a bit unsettling.
It is. It suggests that AI models are increasingly being trained on data generated by other AIs, which could lead to all sorts of unintended consequences like biases, limitations, even a kind of echo chamber effect.
It's like a game of telephone where the message gets more and more distorted with each repetition.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of being mindful of where our training data comes from and ensuring that it's diverse, high quality, and grounded in real-world information.
Okay, one last thing before we take a break. Remember that heated Reddit thread we mentioned earlier?
Oh, yeah, that was a wild one.
Well, it's a great example of how even within the AI community, there's no clear consensus on which tool is better. Some people swear by DeepSeek's affordability and open source nature, while others still prefer ChatGPT's overall polish and fluency.
It really comes down to your individual needs and priorities. There's no one right answer.
And that's a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive. When we come back, we'll do a head-to-head comparison of DeepSeek and ChatGPT, highlighting their key strengths and weaknesses so you can decide which one might be the right fit for you.
Sounds good to me.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our AI Showdown. We've covered a lot of ground, but now it's time to get down to brass tacks. Let's compare DeepSeek and ChatGPT head-to-head, exploring their strengths and weaknesses so you can decide which AI deserves a spot in your digital toolbox.
This is good to me. Let's start with DeepSeek. What stands out to you as its most compelling features?
For me, it's the killer combination of affordability and open source flexibility. DeepSeek is a dream come true for developers who want to tinker, customize, and really push the boundaries of what AI can do, all without breaking the bank.
I agree. That open source nature is a game changer, fostering a community where everyone can contribute and shape the future of AI. And those incredibly low API costs, it's like they're practically giving it away. This could be huge for democratizing access to powerful AI tools.
Exactly. It opens up a world of possibilities for independent developers, researchers, and small businesses. And let's not forget its talent for generating clean, efficient code. DeepSeek's coding skills are seriously impressive, especially for Python.
True, but remember, there are trade-offs. DeepSeek, at least for now, is primarily text-based. It can't process images or other multimedia content like ChatGPT can.
That's a good point. If you need an AI that can understand and process visual information, DeepSeek might not be the best fit just yet. And that lack of a memory function means it can't maintain context across conversations like ChatGPT can.
Right. So if you need an AI that can remember your preferences or build upon previous interactions, ChatGPT might have an edge in those areas.
Okay, let's shift our focus to ChatGPT. What are its strongest selling points?
For me, it's the overall polish and fluency, particularly in English. ChatGPT consistently delivers well-written, grammatically correct text, making it a great choice for writing tasks and anything that requires nuanced language skills.
Plus, that memory function adds a layer of sophistication and personalization that makes it feel much more like a true conversational partner. And let's not forget its multimodal capabilities. Being able to process both text and images opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Absolutely. But those advantages come at a price literally. ChatGPT is significantly more expensive to use than DeepSeek, and that cost can quickly add up if you're using it regularly.
Right. And while the closed source nature of ChatGPT might not bother casual users, it's a significant drawback for developers who want to customize and tweak the model to their specific needs. They're locked out of the hood, so to speak.
It's a classic trade-off. Ease of use and broad capabilities versus affordability and customization.
So what does this all mean for our listeners? How can they decide which AI is right for them?
If we connect this back to your original goals, it all boils down to what you need the AI to do. If you're a developer looking for a cost-effective, highly customizable tool, especially for coding tasks, and you value transparency in its reasoning process, DeepSeek might be your new best friend.
But if you prioritize English language fluency, a more conversational experience with memory capabilities, and you need multimodal processing, ChatGPT might be a better fit, even if it comes with a higher price tag.
The key is to weigh your priorities and choose the tool that best aligns with your needs and budget.
Excellent point. All right, so to recap, we've got DeepSeek, the cost-effective, open-source innovator that's shaking up the AI landscape with its focus on reasoning and coding prowess.
And on the other side, we have ChatGPT, the polished, multi-talented contender, offering fluency, convenience, and a more conversational experience.
Ultimately, the choice is yours. But no matter which path you choose, one thing is clear. The future of AI is bright, and it's going to be a wild ride.
Welcome back, Deep Divers. It's time for the final leg of our AI expedition.
We really dug into DeepSeek and ChatGPT, their quirks, their strengths, their weaknesses.
And now we broaden our perspective and look at the implications of these two AI giants. What do they tell us about the future of technology and maybe even humanity itself?
This is where it gets really interesting. DeepSeek's success coming out of China signals a major shift in the balance of power when it comes to AI development.
For a long time, the assumption was that Silicon Valley was calling all the shots. But now DeepSeek is proof that innovation can come from anywhere.
It's like the tech world suddenly woke up and said, hey, wait a minute, AI isn't just a Western game anymore.
Exactly. And you know what? This is a really good thing for everyone. Competition pushes innovation. So a more diverse AI landscape means we'll see new approaches, faster progress, maybe even solutions we hadn't even thought of before.
It's like having more chefs in the kitchen, right?
True.
More ideas, more flavors, more delicious possibilities.
Precisely. Who knows, maybe this competition will lead to more collaboration too. The best minds from all over the world working together to unlock the true potential of AI.
Okay, let's circle back to something we touched on earlier, AI data pollution. Remember how DeepSeek v3 sometimes identifies as ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
bit unsettling, isn't it? Like finding out your favorite band is actually just a really good cover band.
Right. It's a bit of a wake-up call that we need to be very mindful of what we're feeding these AI models.
Absolutely. If we're not careful, we could end up in a situation where AIs are just mimicking each other instead of learning from real-world data.
It's like an echo chamber of artificial intelligence.
Exactly. And that could lead to all sorts of problems, biases, limitations, a lack of true originality.
So what can we do about it?
Well, for starters, we need greater transparency in AI development. We need to know where the training data is coming from, how it's being curated, and what steps are being taken to mitigate bias. We also need clear ethical guidelines for AI development and use.
That's a great point. It's not enough to just create powerful AI, we have to use it responsibly.
I agree. We're at a crucial point in history where we're shaping the future of AI. It's up to us to make sure it's a future that benefits everyone.
So let's recap for our listeners. What are the key takeaways from this deep dive into the world of DeepSeek and ChatGPT?
First, remember that AI is a rapidly evolving field. Things are changing all the time, so stay curious, keep learning, and don't be afraid to experiment.
Second, choosing between DeepSeek and ChatGPT, or any other AI tool for that matter, is about finding the best fit for your needs and priorities. What are your goals? What's your budget? What kind of tasks do you need help with?
And finally, remember that AI is a tool. It's incredibly powerful, but it's up to us to decide how we use it and what values we embed in it.
Well said. Ultimately, the future of AI is in our hands. It's up to all of us to ensure that it's a future that's bright, equitable, and beneficial for everyone.
That's it for today's episode of The Deep Dive. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into the fascinating world of AI. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the most exciting topics shaping our world.
Until then, keep exploring.